Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reimagine's Community Vigil for Our Collective Pain. At Reimagine, we create opportunities and spaces where people can talk openly and freely about living and dying, about death and loss, about grief and sorrow, and also about joy. We notice over and over that when these often taboo topics are allowed to breathe, people feel more connected to themselves and to each other, and we build community around that idea. There are so many kinds of loss of life, loss of love, loss of home, loss of hope. We are here for you for all of it. We have hosted now over 80 vigils for those who've died of COVID, for the impact of the pandemic, and for those suffering in other profound ways. We know that loss can be both personal and very private, and it can also be global and collective. Today, we are particularly aware that this is a period of great turmoil, of fear, and of anguish. We recognize this is a highly politicized moment. We recognize that there are many different views on all that is unfolding in the world, and we recognize that both what we say, as well as what we don't say, can have meaning, and it may be difficult for some. We encourage everyone as part of this vigil to recognize that we have all come here today with some kind of pain in our hearts. And our hope together is simply to provide a co-created community, a safe community in which we can honor really the mission of Reimagine, which is to help people of all backgrounds face loss, adversity, and mortality to create a more compassionate world. My name is Brad Wolf, and I'm the executive director and founder of Reimagine, and it is my privilege to host us in this space today, and thank you for being with us. Before we get going, I want to share a little bit about how Zoom is set up, just to make sure everyone's able to access the features that this virtual space provides. First, today, you're going to be on mute for most of the session. We will have an opportunity, as we'll describe, for optional breakout sessions at the conclusion of today's formal ceremony. We really do invite you, if willing and able, to turn your cameras on. It's so nice to be connected, though we're virtual, with real live human beings, though we also honor the need for space and for privacy and for whatever else is happening in your busy life right now. Now, we will be using the chat, but for most of the session, it's going to be closed, although you are able to ask the team, the Reimagine staff, questions, technical questions, and it will also be open for a brief time for an honor ceremony that will be held at some distance from now, perhaps about 30 or so minutes in. So we invite you to be ready for that. And then also want to let you know that closed captioning is available. So if you'd like to see the words that are being shared streaming across your screen, you can click the live transcript button. Thank you for honoring these logistical instructions. And now I also wanted to make sure that we touch base on an email that we sent out prior to this, just to onboard everyone to what kind of space this is. This is a grieving space. Despite our varied backgrounds and beliefs, today we unite in sorrow. This is a compassionate space. Our compass points towards mourning, loss, and widening our hearts with love. This is a brave space. In a time where fear is rampant, simply showing up with and for others from diverse walks of life, this is an act of courage. This is also an imperfect space. Our gathering is about bearing witness to our collective pain and not seeking immediate remedies. It's also important to share what kind of space this is not. This is not a blaming space. Today is simply about being with ourselves and others amidst what's hard. This is not a political space. While every action and inaction can be viewed through the lens of politics, our intention together is to step beyond those boundaries and to be apolitical. This is not a religious space. While religion provides solace for so many, our gathering remains neutral, respecting all faiths and people of no faith. And finally, this is not a solution space. We acknowledge our limitations. We approach with humility, knowing that our words might fall short. And so with that, welcome. I want to share a little bit about the program that we're offering today. Thank you so much to Phoenix Song. Phoenix, who you'll hear throughout today's proceedings, is a performer, teacher, and writer who likes to help free people's voices. And so we'll be doing that together in this space. Thank you to Derek Hosberg, who's made the beautiful altar that sits in the middle of our space. And again, I'm Brad Wolf, and soon we're about to begin a ceremony. And this is an opportunity right now, if you don't already have a candle, if you'd like to grab one, if you have access to one sometime, somewhere in your vicinity, to go grab that candle, because we're about to light candles. So now's the time to grab that. This is a candle lighting vigil, and there'll be ways to participate without a candle as well. Then we're going to move into a healing sound practice that Phoenix will lead. We'll have some words to share, and I'll introduce our current board chair, Corey Kennard, and founding board chair, Jeannie Blaustein, soon for that. And then we'll invite us all to be part of the honor ceremony, and finally a candle extinguishing. From there, we're going to wrap up the formal service, but also allow for optional breakouts for those of you who wish to have a more personal connection and share some of what's on your hearts and in your minds in safe spaces with members of this community. And we'll come back for a goodbye. So, with heavy hearts, it's time now to grab our candles and to light them before we move into sharing this blessing. So why don't we all take a second now and get that going. And so with our candles, I would love to invite our reimagined staff, my colleagues, who will be sharing and reading these blessings with and for us this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you are this morning, in some places in the world. And I invite everyone, as they read these blessings, for you to read along as well. So though we may not hear you, we certainly can feel the shared intentions that are in all of our hearts through these words. So with that, I want to invite Chris, Nicole, and Andy to please come forward on Zoom to share our candle lighting blessing.
By lighting our candles, we mourn division, terrorism, violence, war, trauma, hatred, and all that is disconnected from love. We honor our personal dead, the dead across the world, and all of us still here together.
By lighting our candles, we mourn division, terrorism, violence, war, trauma, hatred, and all that is disconnected from love. We honor our personal dead, the dead across the world, and all of us still here together.
By lighting our candles, we mourn division, terrorism, violence, war, trauma, hatred, and all that is disconnected from love. We honor our personal dead, the dead across the world, and all of us still here together.
And with that, I invite everyone out there now who has a candle lit to switch to gallery mode on the top right-hand corner of your Zoom browser window. So we might see everyone's face that is visible, and to hold up our candles to the screen, united in our pain, united in our grief, and united in our love. To find somebody else out there on the screen that you see, and to just hold your gaze toward a stranger. And let your gaze be a symbol of the gaze that we shine on all humans in this world, as an opportunity to share love in our hearts towards others that we may not know, that we may never meet, as a symbol of our shared intention for hope and for a better world. Let us now take about 15 seconds together and just find that one person and share within our heart, call up that spirit of love and compassion for somebody else. Thank you. Now we'll keep our candles lit by our sides for the remainder of our time together until the candle extinguishing blessing. And now I would like to welcome back Phoenix Song to lead us in a practice of vocal healing, of sound healing. Phoenix, thank you so much for being with us in this space and for blessing us with your talents and your wisdom and your heart.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you. It's wonderful to be with you all. So I wanted to take this opportunity to lead us through a little bit of a sounding movement practice. There is a way that when we are in grief and mourning, that the body can shut down a little bit, the breath can get cut off, emotions can get trapped in the body. So I'm going to invite you to do some gentle movement where we are opening our hearts and our chests and bringing back in energy and sending out as we sound to help release positive intentions. So I invite you to start with just placing your hands on your heart. Feel the weight, the pressure, the touch of your hands on your heart. Feel your heart being held by your hands. And just checking in with your heart. Maybe you're feeling numb. Maybe you are feeling anger. Maybe you're feeling sorrow. Whatever you are feeling right now, just to give some loving kindness to that. So I'm going to invite us to tone awe. Awe is a very good vowel to help open our hearts. And we're going to do 3 ahs with the intention of sending loving kindness, right? So the first ah, you're sending loving kindness to yourself. The second ah, we're sending loving kindness to everybody on this call. And the third ah, we're sending loving kindness to all beings everywhere. Okay? So, taking a deep inhale for yourself. I invite you to see the screen and the gallery view for everybody. And then the third ah of loving kindness for all beings. Taking a deep inhale. And no matter what you experience in this is all an invitation. Sometimes it's hard to access loving kindness when we're swept by strong emotions. So whatever your experience is, you're just sending love and acceptance and kindness to yourself. And now for the second round of Oz, I'm going to invite us to send compassion. Compassion for our sorrows in this lifetime. Everybody, because we're human, we experience 10,000 sorrows, even though my flavor might be different than your flavor of sorrows. Because we're all human, we experience 10,000 sorrows. So sending compassion for this first awe to your own suffering in this lifetime. The second awe, sending compassion for everyone suffering on this Zoom call. And the third awe of compassion for those suffering from war, violence, etc. So the first awe for yourself, compassion. Second awe for each other, sending compassionate energy. And the third awe, sending compassion to all beings and receiving their blessings of compassion back. Connecting in with the vibration of compassion. And now we're going to turn to the intention of joy. So knowing that because we're human, we experience 10,000 sorrows in this lifetime, and we all experience 10,000 joys. So we want to remember in the midst of great suffering, there is always joy we can tap into. So we're going to send joy to ourselves and rejoice in our good fortunes and joys. We're going to send joy to everybody on this call, rejoicing and celebrating our joys, and joy to all beings everywhere. So for yourself, celebrate your joys. For each other, rejoice in each other's good fortunes and joys. And for all beings, let's amplify the joy. Tapping into the vibration of joy in our hearts. And no matter what you're experiencing, sometimes you don't feel joy, just sending some acceptance there. And then for the last round, we're going to send peace and ease and equanimity, knowing that life is full of the 10,000 sorrows and the 10,000 joys. Can we ride these waves with ease, with equanimity, with peace in our hearts? So sending ease and equanimity to yourself, taking a deep inhale. Wishing ease to everybody on this call and equanimity, receiving it. And for all beings everywhere, peace, ease, equanimity. Just coming back with your hands holding your heart, just noticing the emotion or energy running through your heart now after this simple practice. And a deep bow of gratitude for your practice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Phoenix, for allowing us to tap into our voices and our hearts amidst such a trying moment. And with that, I would like to now call forward to the proceedings the leadership of Reimagine. Our current board chair, Pastor Corey Kennard, and our founding board chair, Dr. Jeannie Blaustein. Sound is important and words are important. And I would like to allow both of them the opportunity to share with us some words for all of us to share in our hearts with them. So thank you, Corey, and thank you, Jeannie, for being here today. And on behalf of Reimagine and our whole staff, we're so grateful that our team has marked this moment with the solemnity that is called for as a collective, and our whole community is now joined together in that solemnity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad, for just your heartfelt, warm welcome and your leadership for us during this time. And to my dear friend and lovely partner in this walk, Jeannie, who is just a jewel to us all. It is a blessing to be here, and to all of the Reimagine family and Reimagine friends who I no longer call friends. You are our family members. And so we are all in this together during this time. I want to say just a few words to us so that we can understand the importance of not only this gathering, but where our hearts should lie. In a sacred writing, it says that we may be troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. In another version, it says we may be knocked down, but we're never knocked out. I want us to hear those words today because we've all taken a blow with what has happened thousands of miles away, but yet so close to home because of those who we carry in our hearts, who have been in harm's way, who have been persecuted, who have been killed, who have been knocked down. But we are not destroyed by this. We will never be destroyed by acts of war and violence. But we will galvanize and become stronger in the face of such conflict, hurt, and pain. Now, I likened it to a boxer who, in boxing, if you're knocked down and you stay down for the entire count to 10, then you're considered knocked out and the fight is over. Or if you're able to get back up before that referee gets to that 10 count, they give you what is called a standing 8 count. And then there's the 3 knockdown rule. And if you're not able to withstand 2 knockdowns, and you're knocked down a 3rd time, then you're considered out. These 3 phases apply to us. And it's important for us to know that it doesn't matter how many times we get knocked down, the 3 knockdown rule will not apply to us. Because each time we get knocked down, I believe we have some people gathered here today who believe that we can always stand together and get back up, but we cannot do it without each other. We cannot do this alone. So no person is an island on this call. No person is alone on this call. And so we stand together for those who are hurting and going through the conflict that they're going through right now. All of the pain, all of the misery, all of the mourning, the sadness, the death. We can say that we are standing with them and that we will continue to stand from here till the end of time, because we truly believe in the fight of the human spirit and the love of the human heart. And so I want you all to know today that Reimagine is here for you. And we thank you for being here for us, because we all need each other during this time. It's about humanity, and it is about love, and it is about seeing the beauty in one another and how that is amplified when we can see the ugliness that can come forth from such a conflict that is taking place. And so I thank you all for being here with us today. This means the world to us, to know that you've taken the time out of your day to mourn with us, to stand with us, to grieve with us. But most importantly, just to come together and feel the love of our human hearts as we truly believe this too is another obstacle that we can overcome by virtue of our human spirit. And so thank you. And I want to give my blessed friend, Jeannie, an opportunity to address you now as well.
Corey, thank you so much for those beautiful reminders that in the end, what we have is each other and the capacity to love if we can peel off the other layers that we are carrying, and we are all carrying them for many, many very good reasons. You know, in times like this, it can be very hard to have hope. In the midst of darkness, and I know this deeply, personally, it can be hard to remember that the light will ever shine again. But we are here on this call today, and in coming together, we remind ourselves and each other that we are alive today. We are here. And in living, I firmly believe that we have the chance to honor the holiness in ourselves, in life itself, the miracle of life itself, and the beauty of all that we mourn. And what is happening now is not beautiful. There is nothing beautiful. It is hideous. It is brutal. It is violence at its most inhumane. And yet, here we are. And it is in that spirit of holding those two truths, the hideous brutality of what is unfolding, the murderous, painful, terrifying situation that we have been witnessing, holding together the horror and the beauty, the possibility of beauty and of love. I want to read a poem. It's called A Brief for the Defense, and it's by someone named Jack Gilbert. And he writes the following. We will send this to you, by the way, so if you want to read this on your own time, you will have it in a follow-up email. Sorrow everywhere, slaughter everywhere. If babies are not starving someplace, they are starving somewhere else with flies in their nostrils. But we enjoy our lives because that's what God wants. Otherwise, the mornings before summer dawn would not be made so fine. The Bengal tiger would not be fashioned so miraculously well. The poor women at the fountain are laughing together between the suffering they have known and the awfulness in their future, smiling and laughing while somebody in the village is very sick. There is laughter every day in the terrible streets of Calcutta, and the women laugh in the cages of Bombay. If we deny our happiness, resist our satisfaction, we lessen the importance of their deprivation. We must risk delight. We can do without pleasure, but not delight, not enjoyment. We must have the stubbornness to accept our gladness in the ruthless furnace of this world. To make injustice the only measure of our attention is to praise the devil. If the locomotive of the Lord runs us down, we should give thanks that the end had magnitude. We must admit there will be music despite everything. We stand at the prow again of a small ship anchored late at night in the tiny port, looking over to the sleeping island. The waterfront is 3 shuttered cafes and 1 naked light burning. To hear the faint sound of oars in the silence as a rowboat comes slowly out and then goes back is truly worth all the years of sorrow that are to come. You know, at Reimagine, we believe that naming and sharing about the unspeakable, the unimaginable, is the first step toward healing. And I must say that I, too, like Corey, I am very touched that we are here today, taking that first step toward healing together. This is a long road. For those of you who are feeling overwhelmed or scared or enraged or sadness beyond imagining, take good care of yourselves. This is a long road. And we need to be there, as Corey said, with and for each other. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to be there with you today. And I am going to pass it back to Brad.
Thank you so much, Corey and Jeannie, for your profound and beautiful words. Though, as we mentioned, there are no right words right now. Those words, at least for me, did land in a right relation to my own heart. So thank you so much for that. Now, it is possible that we are not all here today for the same reason. But in coming together, we suspect we are all here to honor something or someone that we care deeply about. In a moment, we're going to open up the chat and we're going to invite Phoenix back to provide some music. And we will invite you to share in the chat who or what it is that you would like to honor today. In addition, because this is important, or if you prefer not to share who or what, but in addition or instead of, we also invite you to name the emotions that you are experiencing at this moment, so that we might also allow space for our feelings. We thank you all in advance for allowing really the spaciousness for sharing what is in all of our hearts and honoring each other's voices in this next 5 minutes. So with that, I open the chat and turn it back to Phoenix to provide background music for us. Wow. I've never seen such devastation and pain and hurt and anguish and anger and suffering in a chat. And there is a backhanded relationship, obviously, between all of what has been shared, your beautiful words, your sacred expressions, your bravery, your humanity, a connection between all of that and love. In many respects, the absence thereof. And we ache for the flip side of the emotions that we're feeling right now. But the fact that we have that care together in this space, the fact that we have that anguish and that pain is indeed a morsel, perhaps much more than a morsel, in fact, of the hope that we have, that we care. And in that care is all this love. And so let's take just 3 deep breaths together right now to reflect on this incredible chat. And out. And in. And out. And in. And release. So with that, let's bring our candles back to the space. And I would like to call upon 2 more of our reimagined colleagues, Derek Hosberg and Zuma Desai, to join me in this candle extinguishing blessing. Now, I also want to offer this as we extinguish our candles together. If you choose to keep your candle lit, that is your choice. If you have no candle to extinguish, but so choose to simply take another deep breath and exhale the release of your energy into the world will be a substitute for the light that we'll be extinguishing together here and its meaning. So thank you, Dara and Zubin, and please everyone follow along and feel free to read out loud wherever you are. And at the end, I'll count down from 3 and we'll extinguish our flames in community. Dara. And if Dara, if you're having some technical challenge, I will invite Jeannie, if you don't mind, Jeannie, to step in on behalf of Dara to begin reading our 3 blessings.
By extinguishing our candles, we release light into our world to keep alive hope and the memories of those we honor today and tomorrow and for the rest of our lives.
By extinguishing our candles, we release light into our world to keep alive hope and the memories of those we honor today and tomorrow and for the rest of our lives.
By extinguishing our candles, we release light into our world to keep alive hope and the memories of those we honor today and tomorrow and for the rest of our lives. 3, 2, 1. Now with that, that is we're wrapping up the formal component of our time together, and we're going to have an opportunity for optional breakouts in a minute. but we'd like to share an invitation with you all. You have wisdom and life experience around what brings comfort in a time like this. And we would be honored if you'd be willing to share some of what that might be, so that we might curate some of those sent items, whether it be poetry or music or videos or book recommendations, whatever you think might be healing for others. And we can then send out an email to our full list, in addition to a recording of what we've done so far today, as a way to help those who cannot share with us in this space to find some comfort and healing. So please feel free to email us at hello@letsreimagine.org with anything that comes up for you that might be healing for others. In addition, you have co-created this vigil with us. Reimagine, this is now almost our 100th vigil that we've hosted. And we really want to be able to invite your communities the opportunity wherever to offer something like this. And we are happy at Reimagine in a time like this to donate our time and our expertise and our support in helping you. If you would like to create a vigil for some community in the world, some organization you're a part of, we are there to produce something like this, to advise you. Just reach out to us and we will do that on your behalf in this really painful moment. So email us at hello@letsreimagine.org and just say, help me plan a vigil. Big or small, we are here for you and for each other in this moment. And finally, coming up on October 19th, which is this Thursday, we have another space that will be opening called A Room for Grief at 11 a.m. Pacific time, a slightly more interactive space where you'll be able to spend more time together in community, opening up dialogue on what you're holding. So we invite you to join us for that space as well. Now, with that, just want to say thank you again for participating in this formal ceremony with us. We see love and pain all mixed together here at Reimagine. That's what this community is about. And we want to hold it all. And it's a lot to hold. And the only way to hold it all is in community. And so thank you for joining your shoulders, your bodies, your hearts in alignment with ours for this really higher purpose around the vibrations we can create together in this world that may make some difference through our shared spirits. And therefore, with that in mind, we're now going to offer the closing of our formal ceremony and transition to an opportunity for 10 minutes we're going to turn off the camera, so no recordings, and are going to offer the opportunity to join into some breakouts with 3 folks. But I want to just take this opportunity, if you'd like to say bye at this point, because that's not for everybody, although it can be healing, just to bid some of you adieu, and we'll see you soon. Blessings and love.